But we are at this time of change, and we are the souls that have we won the arm wrestling match to come here and have a body and walk through this. So that's definitely for a reason, and it's not to be part of the program. So these dubious characters are bringing in change. And one of the big immediate changes I'm seeing that's showing how woke up people are is with these inflamed uh, media narratives on all sides, right? There's left, right, and center, all these media narratives that are inflaming, causing fear, causing panic, causing suspicion. They're doing all these angles that to get a rise out of people. And what I'm noticing collectively, a lot of people are not buying into it, and it's actually waking them up even further. Now, the exception would be those who are addicted to outrage. Now, those guys, which I'm going to say is probably about 30% of the greater whole, that they're absolutely full on addicted to outrage. There's a dopamine receptors for that, and if you don't fill that with something else, you get addicted to it. So you actually look for things to inflame you, and the algorithms, believe me, will read that quickly and give you plenty of ammunition, plenty of things to get outraged about and up in arms about, right? So maybe 30% are those outrage addicts, and those are the ones that are getting highlighted the most on social media and media circles, because they're trying to take that 30% and blow it up and make us think it's the majority, so we feel alone, so we feel separated from where everybody else is at. But the cure for that is, as soon as we pick up the phone or go to a gathering or have dinner go to a dinner party and connect with friends, we realize, oh, okay, it's all good. You know what I mean? Once you can have these conversations and see through them. Now, I go through different social circles. I have a lot of different networks of people. Some are very, very left leaning. Some are very, very right leaning. And I have to say, when I'm interacting, I am much more on edge when I'm in the left leaning circles. Because if there's a whiff of me saying anything that could be a narrative that they identify that's against them, you know what I mean? There's a reaction to endure, right? There's the centered friends, and actually most of my circles are very, very centered. They see the chaos and BS on both sides and just kind of stay in the center. My centered friends, it's all good. We just don't even bother wasting energy on it. And the right leaning friends, they definitely are passionate, and at the same time way more accepting. Now I mean, all I need to do is engage with them, and they can see that I might think differently than them, but I also accept them for thinking differently than me, and then it's all okay and it's no big deal. And unfortunately, that's not necessarily happening in the more left leaning realities. I really would love to see that happen, so we can wake up out of the haze even quicker and get busy getting clear about what's actually in front of us and what are the informed choices we need to be making as a collective. Because the choices we need to be making as a collective is so beyond the structured narrative that we're fed by the news and our president. All these, they're doing all these new conferences and podcasts, and they're only telling us a carefully curated position. They're not telling us the whole truth. I was listening to a podcaster, I can't remember his name now, Alexander something, black hair, he has black hair, white guy, black hair. He interviewed Bernie Sanders a way back. And there's something that Bernie Sanders said in that interview that just like hit me like a ton of bricks. And it made me realize that, a lot of our politicians, the ones that really care, it's like they are walking a very, very fine line, of what they can say and what they can't say. And I feel like that he let a bomb drop in a way that was super, um, you know, unsuspecting, but the way he said it and how he said it landed on me so heavily. I was like, that was him, that was him being true to his conscience to drop a truth bomb, right? So it's like they talk in code to us. If you have the eyes to hear and the hearts to listen, you'll realize that some of them are talking in code. The ones that really care are talking in code, so to speak. And what he said was, he said the things that are really important for our country and our people are not at all what we talk about. He said that. And that landed on me like a ton of bricks. I knew what he's saying was the truth. Now, I also got the feeling that that is him treading that fine line of what you can and cannot say publicly when you are in the trenches, so to speak, of our political system, our federal system, especially, right? So this is something. This is why it's so important that we wake up out of those narratives and open our minds into thinking about things differently. So we don't confine our questions and our curiosity to those carefully structured narratives. Instead, we intuitively come up with the questions that we need to be asking. Okay. And the kinds of questions we need to be well, there's more technology we need to wake up out of. We think that there were certain kinds of technology are much more limited than they actually are. So we need to wake up and see first just how advanced the technology is, especially like the WBAN and the nanite technology, the robot, the self-replicating robots, the graphene oxide, the applications, the very advanced applications of biosensors. Okay, they are far, far more advanced than what is known commonly in public. Okay, and if we did have an understanding of just how advanced things are, well, first you're in shock because you're like, holy crap, why was I so blind to this? Because once it's laid out in front of you, it's very clear, right? It's just dealing with it after you realize it. But so we get the shock of realizing there's realities in place that we were totally oblivious to. But once we realize they're there, then we can step into really getting into what needs to be asked, what actually needs to be talked about. And as we collectively resonate with what's truly important for us to ask, what's truly important for us to talk about, then we will be met by the sincere podcasters, the sincere narrators, the ones that truly want to inform us, will start meeting us on those lines versus the controlled opposition and the other kinds of ways that the narratives get controlled.